happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Say we got another huge update. I know you guys could probably already tell it is going down. Just by that title alone, you're definitely going to see this one, as we have CNN host Scott Jennings tiptoeing and dancing on that fine line of getting booted off the network, and this newest update where he is pointing out the facts, saying it is very sad to see, the links they'll go, the things they'll do in order to cover up Tim Walz, Kamala Harris, their campaign. I'm excited to get into it, see what's got Scott Jennings so fired up. So we're not straight into it. Just make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Before we get into it, you guys, hit that like button, also hit that subscribe button for your boy. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it, folks. Check this out.
Well, first of all, I don't find them to be consequential. Second of all, Walz is a buffoon. I'm sorry. This guy, he's the only school teacher in America who brags that none of his students can get into an Ivy League school. He's had one consequential press interaction with our Dana Bash, who asked him about the fabrications in his own resume, and his answer was essentially, me no understand words good. I mean, he's a buffoon. He's on a free ride for running under Harris. He gets
Listen to her, guys. Scott, they want him to stop telling the truth about this camp, that the things they'll do, the links they'll go in order to cover up from this campaign. Listen to her, guys. She's trying to interrupt
in his own resume, and his answer was essentially, me no understand words good. I mean, he's a buffoon. He's on a free ride for running under Harris. He gets very little press. They don't let him talk to the press for a reason. I want one thing out of this debate. I want J.D. Vance to go out there and get under his skin. He has legendary hot, short temper. A lot of governors do, but apparently he does. I want J.D. Vance to go out there and have him explain why he is denigrating J.D. Vance's story. Small town America ends up making something better out of his life, which is something we should want for every kid. Well, first of all,
oh my goodness. And then listen to the other host trying to stop Scott from crashing out. I mean, he has to expose this right here. This is the truth. JD Vance is going to absolutely mop the floor. And that's what I've been hearing from a lot of folks is, that's why Tim Walz is trying to run away from the debates, because he knows what JD Vance is capable of. I mean, we've seen him in multiple interviews where he's absolutely just destroyed reporter after journalist. I mean, it's bad at this point. Tim Walz knows he's not prepared, guys. Check this out.
Now, and I do think there's a reason that in our own CNN poll today, 51% of Americans said they judged Trump's term to be a success, and only 37% have judged the Biden-Harris administration to be a success. There is something going on where people are remembering what he did, how he did it, and they're comparing it to what's happening right now. So you can cherry pick these individual statements or policies, but if you look at the comparative and you look at our own polling, you realize he's hit upon an economic vein that is working for him in this election. Yeah, he beats Harris on it, and he is viewed as a better president than Biden and Harris.
50% say that Trump is better to handle the economy. Just 39% say that of Harris.
Yeah. And there is a reason why the polls numbers are coming in, and they're finally showing it even on CNN, guys. People are trusting Donald Trump more to handle the economy because they know they can remember how life was. They weren't, struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, hopefully wishing that the next paycheck would come early, because it's just that tough out there. I mean, bills are going up, inflation's through the roof. Oh, the grocery bill, rent, mortgage, all that stuff is skyrocketing, and it's no thanks to Biden and Harris administration. We're getting word that, from Biden in his latest sit-down interview on The View, where he's saying that I gave Kamala Harris just as much power, opportunity as what I had as a sitting VP. So she could have done anything that she wanted to during that 3.5 years where she sat on her hands, essentially, watching this border go to crap. I mean, come on, you guys. This is why we're seeing polls just like this. Even CNN is putting it out there now, not hiding the truth.
To handle the economy. Just 39% say that of Harris. Yeah. There's a lot of work for her to do here.
Poor and low-wage working class voters. Also, I mean, the issue you're conveniently leaving out of this conversation is they've been crushed by inflation for the last 3.5 years. And I don't think it's as simple as what you laid out, Keith, about race. I think they're looking at their overall situation and saying, 4 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever, I felt like I was at least had a fighting chance. And today, after being crushed, I'm in a hole so deep I don't know how to get out. And I do think
He's got the whole table in a frenzy, guys. Listen to him where he says, I don't think race is enough anymore to get, black voters on board with Kamala Harris when they can see their back has been broke underneath Kamala Harris's Biden-Harris administration, where she had equal opportunity to do something to save these folks. I mean, come on, guys. Let's the whole table erupt.
So deep, I don't know how to get out. And I do think they're looking, but I do think they're looking for someone to blame, or to at least say, why did these policies get enacted upon me? I'm the one who's feeling it the most.
First of all,
why did these policies get put on me, and why is she not to blame? Why is no one pointing the finger at Kamala Harris saying that this was all Joe Biden's fault, like she wasn't, his deputy in chief? It doesn't make sense. Guys, check this out. This is what JD Vance has to say on the matter, what he wants to do for the American folks. Check him out.
So how was your experience watching last night when you think about the fact that you are up next, or maybe up next, depending on how things go? And, of course, we're hoping we're going to see another presidential debate, and we'd love to do it here. How are you preparing? What's your method of preparation against Governor Walz?
Well, by the way, I appreciate you guys being willing to host these debates. It's very important. And unfortunately, you have Vice President Harris and Tim Walz, who are effectively running from the American media, running from hostile media, running from friendly media. And I think it's really disgraced. I mean, the way that I think about this is it's an opportunity, right? I get 90 minutes to talk to the American people about how Donald Trump can make their lives better, about how his vision for fixing inflation, for lowering the cost of housing and securing that southern border, and why they should elect him president of the United States to make their lives better. So it's 90 minutes where we're going to talk about a lot of policy. I'm trying to read and just understand as much as possible, what Tim Walz has done, what policies he supported, and how it's so different from the prosperity and peace that Donald Trump delivered. I want to talk to people, and I get an opportunity to do that for 90 minutes. So we're going to try to be as well versed in the policy, because that's ultimately what's going to make people's lives better, as it happened under Donald Trump, or worse, as it's happened under Kamala Harris.
JD Vance, I think that means he's laying a statement out there saying, hey, during this debate, I want to take it as a chance to show the American people, hold Tim Walz's feet to the fire on his track record, his history, the policies that he stood for, and what he's trying to claim that he stands for now underneath Kamala Harris as her vice president candidate. I mean, come on, you guys. That's JD Vance just giving us a hint, letting us know that he's absolutely about to tear it up. He's lighting Tim Walz up. Then we got George, aka Bahizi, tweets on X. Check him out, guys. Tweeting out saying JD Vance has won the coin toss against Tim Walz and has chosen to have the final words at the debate next week. It is genius to let Walz babble on and then mic drop immediately after him. Trump and Vance can't stop winning these debate coin tosses. It must be a preview of the historic win they'll receive on election night in November. I mean, come on, you guys. Another coin toss win for Donald Trump, JD Vance. I mean, we've seen what Donald Trump done on that ABC debate, even though it was 3v, 4v, 5v1. We don't know yet, but Donald Trump's, mic drop at the end is definitely what left the American folks questioning whether or not Kamala Harris was capable or not. And I think JD Vance will follow in that similar fashion and just absolutely drop the mic on Tim Walz, that closing argument. I mean, it's going to go down. Check out what MSNBC has to say.
So they still believe they can and will win Pennsylvania, but, they feel good about Michigan. They feel good about Wisconsin, relatively good. It may be a landslide. Maybe they'll win by a full percentage point in both of those states. But in Pennsylvania, they know it's going to be a fight, and it's going to be a fight because she's doing better, much better among women and most young voters, but older white men, just like people thought after Biden left the race. More of a challenge, pulling them to vote against Trump again.
Yeah, I mean, older white men and actually younger white men too, also a bit of a challenge. I mean, that number they'll like a lot, up +5 in Pennsylvania, because you're right, it's the new Ohio, it's the new Florida, it's the state where they see they have the most problems. And of course, then either the concern or the upside, depending on how you look at this from the Harris campaign's point of view, is that Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin people think will break the same way. That's what they've done traditionally ever since 1980. I think there's one exception. And so if they lose Pennsylvania, what would that then mean for Wisconsin and Michigan? If they win Wisconsin and Michigan, does that mean they're going to win Pennsylvania? But that's why they're putting so much resources into that. But it's men. I mean, I think the real struggle for the Harris campaign is young men, older men, men of color, white men, and they are doing all they can. You can see, I think, the debate next week will be really interesting to see how Tim Walz reaches out to that group. Doug Emhoff, who I interviewed yesterday, I think we've got a clip of that we can have later on the program. He is making a concerted effort in his own way to reach out to that group. They know that that's where they know that's where they have a weakness.
They have a weakness, guys, and even MSNBC is starting to point it out. Now, you know it's bad when, you know, the left-wing lamestream media outlets that are supposed to be propping up Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, are now coming out admitting that they've got problems, they got weaknesses in their campaign. They're not appealing to the men demographic. We're just going to say men, period, is what MSNBC is putting out there. And it's the truth. You know, we've seen Tim Walz trying to do his tinker job, cleaning or changing the air filter in that in his truck. And the filter was clean. I mean, it just didn't make sense. And that's them trying to make an appeal or a grab at an appeal to, you know, male voters. And I just don't see it happening when, you know, I hate to say this, guys, please don't jump down my throat about it. But I just feel like men are going to act with, you know, rationale. We're not going to act off emotion or this vibes campaign that Harris or Walz are trying to push for, saying it's good vibes, the best vibes for the American folks. No, we need policy. We're looking for, you know, how you're going to benefit our country, our everyday way of life, and ultimately make it easier for us to achieve, you know, that American dream, guys. But we're not seeing that with Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and that's why they're losing support, guys. Definitely out in the comment section, though. Let me know your thoughts. Also, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next week.